HB. Then here we divide by H. And our B is equal to 2A minus HA divided by H. Okay, so there are subject to this formula, the answer we have. However, me, I had taken an alternative way. So this is one of the ways. So me, I had taken an alternative way and first divided by H, both sides. So which would make this H and this one to disappear. Then that would take me to 2A over H is equal to smaller a plus B. Then after I take the A, this A crosses to this side, it becomes minus is equal to B. And when I put this over 1, and the LCM becomes H, so I get H divided by 2A would give me H divided by H would give me 1 times 2A, which would remain as 2A. And then H divided by 1 would give me H times A, which would give me AH. So all of these ways lead us to the same answer. Is that okay? Can I proceed? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So we go to this second, given that capital R minus 2 small r divided by capital R is equal to 3 over 5. Express capital R in terms of small r. So what would be our first procedure? What shall we do first? Members, what shall we do?
Cross multiply.
So here we begin by, we cross multiply. So we multiply 5 by this and 3 by the other one. So that would give us 5 into capital R minus 2 small r is equal to 3 times 5. And then here what would we do?
We multiply 5 times R.
Multiply
5 into the
okay.
5 into the brackets.
Giving us 5R minus 10.
So 5 is equal to 3A. And
10R.
after this, we collect like terms. Collect like terms. So 5R minus 3R is equal to 10 small r. Then 5 minus 3 would give us 2. And then after here, we divide by
2R.
2.
R.
Okay, we divide, since we want to remain with this capital R, so we divide by 2. This would give us 1. And then 10 divided by 2 would give us 5. And then our capital R gives us 5.
5.
Small r. Is that okay?
R.
Any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Proceed. So we are given another expression here. Make Q the subject of the expression. P plus 3Q divided by Q minus 3P is equal to X divided by Y. what did we do first?
Cross multiply.
Multiply.
Multiply, cross multiply, and that would give us y times p plus 3q into x times q minus 3p. So what is x times,
Yes.
okay, we open the brackets here. Y times p gives us
YP.
yp,
YP.
y times 3, y times 3q,
3QY. Oh, yeah.
3.
3QY.
Okay, x times
3QY.
okay, so that would be that after opening the brackets. And what would we do here after opening brackets?
We bring x down.
Collect like.
We collect like terms. So the like terms, we bring the terms in Q alone, in P, and the terms in what? In Q. Okay?
In X, Q. Yes.
So one would do it the other way. However, mind. So one can decide to bring the Q this side. Okay? Yeah, that one has no problem. Yeah,
Yes.
as long as you have corrected the like terms. So we shall come up.
Yes.
So that would give us this. So here we get the common factor on the left hand side, and the common factor on the right hand side. So what would be our common factor here, where we have yp plus 3px? What would be the common factor? Halima? Hamila?
Alvin, eh?
Okay, let's proceed. So the common factor here on the right hand side would be a p. So we can decide to pull it outside, and that will when we pull it outside, we shall 3x, since we have moved the p out, disappearing. On both of these, we have q into x minus 3y. And thereafter, what do we do? What do we do after that? Yes, members, what do we do? So after that, since our major focus is to remain with Q on 1x minus 3y, and when we do that, this will go with that, so we shall remain with Q equaling to this expression here. So our Q is equal to P into divided by x minus 2, this expression here. So, and we now have our Q on one side, so that means we have any questions? Any questions, members? So I think I can proceed to another example. So here we are given that the given make P the subject of the formula, S is equal to y minus 1. After that is to first put 1 divided by 1, because we shall not have changed the meaning, and so that all of them become now in terms of fractions. And our major focus is to make this P the subject of the formula. So what are we going to do? Members contribute, don't leave it only to me. What are we going to do after this first step of making all of them to be in fraction form? All of us have decided to keep quiet. Okay, after dividing by that, so we shall get the LCM, lowest common multiple of 2y minus p and 1, and that would be 2y minus p. So we get the 2y minus p divided by 2y minus p, which would give us 1, and we multiply by 3x. So that would leave us with only 3x. And then we minus 2y minus p divided by the 1, which gives us 2y minus p, and we multiply it by the 1, which gives us this here. So after that, we open brackets. Negative 1 times 2y gives us negative 2y, and negative 1 times negative p gives us positive p. And then after this, we can also put the s out of 1, and we cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, we shall have this 2y minus p times s, and then the 3x minus 2y plus p times 1, which would remain like that, because when it is multiplied by 1, it remains the same. Then on the left hand side, we are going to open brackets, and when we open brackets, s times 2y will give us 2sy, then s times p will give us sp, and then we bring it this way here. So remember, our aim is to make p the subject of the formula, so we are going to have terms in p on one of the sides, and hence we are going to correct like terms. So we are going to cross this p to come to this side, and then these other ones here, the 3x and the 2y, are going to come to that side. So when the 3x crosses, it will become negative because it is positive, and the 2y, since it is negative, when it crosses the equal signs, it will become positive. So we are going to have 2sy plus 2y minus 3, giving us p plus sp. Then here we have a common factor of p, which we are going to pull outside. And likewise here we have a common factor of y, which we are going to pull outwards, 2y. So here we remain with s, which is here. Since we took away the whole of 2y, we shall remain with the 1 there. So it becomes 2y into s plus 1 minus 3x, giving us p, because it was also common, into 1 plus s. So after this, we divide by 1 plus s, since we want to remain with p, both sides. And that would give us, so we divide 1 plus s, and 1 plus s would go. So we divide it here. So on the right hand side, we shall remain with p according to the whole of this expression. So, but what I did here is that I began by writing p on the left hand side, because it is equal to the whole of that. So there we will have also made would have transferred p to be on one side of the expression, and our work would be complete. Any questions, members? So I guess if there are no questions, I can continue. Then we are now going to deal with these terms which have a square root sign in them. So we have n equaling to x, root of 2 divided by 4m squared minus 1. And our focus is to have the m on one side of those terms. So what we do, we begin by dividing by x, such that the term in the square root remains on one side of the expression. So when we divide by x, we shall have, so by x here and x there, so we have n divided by x. Of course, this one will cancel out, so we remain with the root of 2 divided by 4m squared minus 1. So who can tell us what we are going to do after this? What are we going to do after? Yes?
We are going to remove the square root.
We are going to remove the square root. And how do we do that?
Square on
Up
sides.
brackets.
Mm.
We are going to say into bracket. We are going to say n into brackets squared
Yes.
equals to 2 out of 4m squared minus 1 into brackets a half times 2, I think.
Okay. It is also the same as this to power 2. Okay. Then after that, this square will die with the root. And so that is what we have there. Much as somebody here can remove their half, the square root sign, and substitute it with a half. That one is also okay. So n over x, then this one we say it is going to disappear. So we shall come up with n squared over x squared is equal to 2 divided by 4m squared minus 1. And after that, what do we do?
Cross multiply.
We cross multiply. So cross multiplying, we have n squared, so we shall multiply it with the 4m squared minus 1. And then the x squared, we are going to multiply it with the 2. So that will give us this expression here. So n squared into 4m squared minus 1 is equal to 2 times x squared. Okay, what did we do next?
Open brackets.
We open brackets. So when we open brackets, we shall have n squared times 4m squared, and then n squared times 1. What will that give us? Yes, suggestions, please.
4 into brackets
Yeah.
nm close brackets squared
Okay.
equals to 2x squared.
Equals to 2x squared. So there is some of our friends who are asking that we repeat this again. It is understandable. So we can slightly move backwards and repeat for them. However, time is not our good friend. So we began by saying this expression now is different from what we have had in the past because for it has a square root sign. And one of us said to deal with this very well, we first get ways of removing this square root sign. And to remove it, we need to square both sides because that is when it disappears. But what we did, we began by dividing by x. That this x and this one disappear, and then we remain with n divided by x is equal to the root of 2 divided by 4m squared minus 1. Then after this, when I asked, members said to remove this square root sign, we square both sides. So we get this one squared and this one as well squared. So after that, this square is going to cancel with the root because the root is the same as 2 power half. So times 2. So the 2 will cancel out with the 2. So it was also a suggestion by the members which was correct. So that brings us to that. So the n over x squared, then bracket to root of that also squared. So this square will cancel out with this. And then we come up with n squared over x squared after expanding this term is equal to 2 divided by 4m squared minus 1. And from here, one of us suggested that we cross multiply, which is very right. So after cross multiplying, we shall get the half is same as square root. So this square root, the square root sign is the same as saying to power a half. Don't get lost. It is the same as to power what? A half. So we have the n squared after this is where we had reached. And here we said we open brackets. So we shall get n squared times this term and also n squared times the 1. So n squared times 4m squared will give us 4m squared n squared, then minus n squared is equal to 2x squared. But you should remember where we are heading to. Our aim is to remain with m on one side. So what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Members, don't be silent. What are we going to do to remain with m on one side? Just suggest. Those answers are always correct.
The n squared cancels and then you divide 4m squared.
Okay, so this one we transfer it to the right hand side, okay? And it will become positive. So we remain with 4m squared n squared equaling to 2x squared plus n squared. Yes, and after that, what do we do?
We divide by n squared both sides.
We divide by n squared both sides. Okay, thank you. Any other to supplement his answer? There is something he left.
We
Something
divide by
left.
4n on each side.
Okay, we divide by 4 n squared. So when we divide by 4n squared, so this 4 and n squared will disappear, and then we shall remain with only m squared, and then we divide it also here. 4n squared is equal to that. Okay, are we okay, members? Yes, so after that, our m squared is equal to 2x squared plus n squared divided by 4n squared. Have we reached our final answer?
No.
No. So what are we going to do next?
Introduce a square root.
We introduce a square root both sides. So that would mean square root of m squared is equal to square root of 2x squared plus n squared divided by 4n squared. So here the root sign will die with the m, with the square. So we shall remain with m, and it is equal to root of 2x squared plus n squared over 4n squared. Have we reached our final answer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But we can reduce it further because 4n squared, root of 4n squared has an answer as well. So this would be root of 4 and root of n squared. What is the root of 4?
2.
Root of 4, 2. And the root of n squared
is 2.
Is n.
the n. Okay. So our final answer would be m equaling to root of x squared plus n squared divided by 2n. Okay. So because of time, I'm not going to go through this other one. Make C the subject of the formula A is equal to b minus root of b squared minus c squared because of time. But I'm going to send it there and you go through it like the way we have done with the first one. Okay. You go through the same procedures. So let us rest. Yes? Yes, please.
To the slide. Yeah,
The slide where?
the other slide.
The one we have been on.
No?
Which one? This one?
Yes.
I was saying because of time, I'm not going to do this because we are left with around 6-7 minutes, and yet there is something else I want us to go through. So this one we can do it using the same knowledge we have applied in the previous one, but maybe let us go through it very fast. So we shall begin by transferring so since this is positive, we can bring it since it is negative, we bring it that side to make it positive, and this one comes here to be a negative, such as that root of b squared minus c squared is equal to b minus a. And after that, we are going to find the square root. We square both sides, and this 2 here will cancel out with that. So that will give us b squared plus c squared is equal to, so when we expand this, we get this, that is near to work, but this one is simply when you get b minus a times b minus a. So when you expand this, you will come up to that. So our aim was to make C the subject of the formula. So here what is done when we cross this B to one of the sides, when it crosses here, it becomes negative, so it will cancel out with this. So we remain with C squared equaling to negative 2AB plus A squared, which is here. So when we rearrange and begin with the positive, so we begin with A squared minus 2AB, and after that we find the square root, and C will be equal to root of A squared minus 2AB. So let us do this last one here. Given that A is equal to 2 pi root of C over B, express B in terms of A, pi and C, and find the value of B if C is 240, pi is 3.14, and A is 12.56. So that is it. So as what are we going to begin by doing? What are we going to do first?
Remove the square root sign.
We remove the square root sign. Okay, but we first divide by this 2 pi. Yes? Yes, please?
Yes.
You will,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
would divide that 2 pi with add to divide.
Yes. So that will give us A over 2 pi is equal to root C over B. And after that, what do we do?
We divide. We square both sides to remove the square root.
We square both sides to remove the square root, so that this one here will now go with this.
Yes.
And when we expand here, a square a to the power 2 will give us a squared, and 2 pi to power 2, the 2 is also to power 2, so that is why we have a 4, and then the pi squared. Is that okay?
Yes.
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 And then after there, what did we do?
We multiply b both sides.
We multiply both
Multiply
sides.
b.
Cross multiply.
I think the best one would be cross multiplying. Okay.
Cross multiplying, yes.
Yeah. So a squared times b is a squared b. 4 pi squared times c is 4c pi squared. Our aim was to remain with c. So what did we do?
Our aim is to remain with b.
We divide by
A. A was to,
Divide both
our
sides
aim is b.
squared.
So we divide both sides by
S squared.
we divide both sides by chemical.
S squared.
So we divide both sides by a squared, so that would give us b is equal to 4c pi squared over a squared.
Yes.
And there would
Yeah.
have answered the
Yes.
first part. Yes, after that we shall now come and say c is 240, pi is 3.14, and a is 12.56. So we substitute those values in the equation. In our b is equal to 4 times 240 times 3.14 squared
Yes.
divided by 12.56
Divided by.
squared. Okay?
Yes.
So those who have the calculators give us the answer.
Six.
60. Okay, thank you. How many are getting 60? 60 point something?
Yeah, I'm here 60.0.
Okay. So this one you'll also go through it because our time is up. So that is your assignment, which I'm going to send. And possibly you send it to my WhatsApp. So you inbox me your answers. And then briefly, let me talk about this as we have always talked about it. After our online classes, which are free, so you are free to subscribe to our classes, which are 500,000 per year. And in case of downloads, a single subject is 10,000. All subjects in a primary class is 30, and in secondary it is 50. Then we have Educare, where you only access content without teachers, which is includes a 2-day free access before you pay 20,000 per month for bronze level, 50,000 for 3 months, 70,000 for 6 months, which is half a year, and 100,000 for a full year. So thank you for listening and for your active participation. May God bless you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, please.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
So inbox and send you the
welcome.
questions you have given
Thank you,
us.
sir. Thank you, sir.
If even when you have some questions, ask, you can inbox me. So let me send you this work after, then we see what to do. So our class has ended, so you can leave the meeting.